would subscribe to my channel, like the video if you enjoy it, and maybe leave a comment down below. These simple clicks would mean a lot to the future of this channel and really reward the effort that I put in every day. And now, without further ado, let's go. Here is my story. 2 months ago, my seemingly stable and content world took an unexpected turn. I received a link in my email that shattered the foundation of trust I had built over the 12 years of marriage with my wife, who is 42. The video portrayed her engaging in unthinkable acts with 2 men simultaneously. Shock, anger, and confusion flooded my emotions. But as I delved deeper into the footage, I realized it was from a time long before our relationship began. It became clear that my wife's past, riddled with struggles and mistakes, had come back to haunt us. When we first met, she was grappling with a troubled history involving drugs and alcohol. Her battle for custody of her son, who had been placed with her grandparents by the state, added another layer of complexity to her life. Raised by her grandparents due to her mother's abandonment, my wife carried the scars of a fractured family. Upon turning 18, she escaped with her now ex-boyfriend, embarking on a tumultuous journey fueled by substance abuse and a toxic relationship. Their son, born amidst this chaos, shared an age with my own from a previous marriage. The turning point came when a neighbor reported their 4-year-old wandering unclothed and barefoot, leading to a police intervention. In the search that followed, drug paraphernalia was discovered in their apartment. Her boyfriend, also the supplier, received a 4-year prison sentence, while my wife faced a 3-month term. Child Protective Services placed their son in the care of her grandparents. The experience prompted my wife to reevaluate her life, distancing herself from her ex, who viewed her actions as betrayal. Upon her release, she was resolute in turning her life around, pursuing a career as a dental assistant. That's when our paths crossed. Fresh from a difficult divorce, I was drawn to her beauty and her determination to regain custody of her son. In a surprisingly short span, we established a life together, securing an apartment, and she managed to gain custody of her son. Her dedication to personal growth and creating a stable family resonated with me, and I embraced her son as my own. About a year ago, her ex, freshly released from prison, re-entered our lives. As anticipated, he sought her out, persistent in his attempts to reclaim what he perceived as a lost family. His harassment extended to me, accusing me of stealing his life. Unfazed, my wife firmly rejected his advances, assuring me that she had moved far beyond that turbulent chapter of her life. During this tumultuous time, she remained open with me, disclosing every attempt he made to reach out. Despite her apparent resistance, a subtle unease crept into my thoughts. I grappled with regret, questioning the wisdom of our relationship, but I kept my concerns to myself, determined to remain a pillar of support for her. I hoped that his interest would wane, and he would eventually fade away. I wasn't one to be intimidated, but neither was I one to court trouble. I had led a straightforward life devoid of any brushes with the law or troublemaking. He continued to show up unannounced at our doorstep, testing the limits of my patience. At my urging, my wife sought a restraining order against him, and abruptly, the unwelcome visits ceased. I initially found the sudden disappearance odd but attributed it to his probationary constraints, fearing a return to prison. He seemed to have finally relented. A year passed during which I questioned my wife about her ex's whereabouts. After months of absence, strangely, she feigned ignorance, as though he had vanished into thin air. I welcomed the apparent peace, grateful for the absence of his disruptive presence. He had shown no genuine interest in his son, never inquiring about him or expressing a desire to reconnect after his release from prison. However, the tranquility was shattered 2 months ago when the disturbing link arrived in my inbox, exposing a video from the past. On the tape, her younger self was having intercourse with 2 men at the same time. One was her ex-boyfriend who recently got out of prison. It unraveled a forgotten chapter of her life, casting shadows of doubt and confusion over the narrative I had come to accept. As the video played, I couldn't take my eyes off it as they performed acts that I hadn't tried with her before. The past collided with the present, leaving me grappling with emotions that threatened the very foundation of the life we had built together. The revelation demanded answers, forcing me to confront a reality that I had naively believed was behind us. That evening, as my wife walked through the front door, I could feel the weight of the revelation pressing down on me. The air in the room seemed to thicken with tension as I confronted her about the disturbing video. She insisted that it was from a time before we met, explaining that her ex-boyfriend had a penchant for recording their intimate moments. However, the twist came when she revealed that these encounters occasionally involved other people, an aspect of her past she had not previously disclosed. A sense of betrayal enveloped me as I grappled with the newfound information. It felt like a seismic shift, as if the foundation of our relationship had been built on unsteady ground. The gap between what I thought I knew about her and the reality unveiled in the video left me questioning the depth of our connection. As she saw the turmoil in my eyes, she tried to downplay the significance of the events in the video, emphasizing that they occurred during a tumultuous period in her life. Her memories were hazy, blurred by alcohol and drugs. She argued that I knew her story, to which I conceded that I was aware of some aspect but not this particular chapter. She countered by pointing out that she hadn't delved into the details of my past intimate encounters either. While I acknowledged the validity of her point, the revelation struck me differently now that I had witnessed it firsthand. It wasn't just about the past, it was about the implications for our present and future. What struck me even more was her reaction. Her concern seemed centered on the exposure of the video rather than the fact that it existed at all. This raised an unsettling question in my mind. How many more videos like this were out there? The uncertainty gnawed at me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that there might be more skeletons in her closet. Her defense pivoted to the absurd notion that her ex had sent the video to destroy our relationship. I struggled to reconcile this claim with the fact that I hadn't heard from him in over a year. Why would he resurface now to sabotage our marriage, unless there was some form of communication between them that she conveniently omitted? The revelation plunged our relationship into a murky abyss. Despite her assurance that the video was a relic of the past, my skepticism grew. I couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to the story, and a sense of restlessness overcame me. Sleep eluded me as I grappled with the unsettling uncertainty that now hung over the life we had built together. The discovery of the video had unraveled a web of deceit that extended beyond the boundaries of our relationship. Despite my initial hesitation to invade her privacy, the shock of the revelation drove me to delve deeper into the truth. Knowing that Facebook was her primary mode of communication, I decided to investigate. Though I had never been inclined to snoop before, the recent revelation had shattered my trust, prompting me to explore avenues I had previously deemed unnecessary. I was aware that she always logged into Facebook on her laptop, and I knew her password from having observed her input it on numerous occasions. One night, as she slept, I logged into her Facebook account, finding it still open on her laptop. What I uncovered sent shockwaves through me, shaking the very foundation of our relationship. Not only was she in communication with her ex, but she had been intimate with him at least more than once since his release from prison. He persistently urged her to leave me and be with him, but she resisted, citing my stability and the promise of a better life for our children as reasons to stay. As I delved further, I stumbled upon a truth more unsettling than I could have imagined. Their past relationship had not only involved drugs and alcohol but also swinging with shared videos of intimate encounters with other couples. The magnitude of deception and the stark contrast between the life she portrayed and her hidden reality left me reeling. Her ex, seizing upon the opportunity to manipulate and control, threatened her with exposure. He demanded that she leave me, using the video as leverage. The Facebook messages revealed a toxic dance of manipulation, coercion, and betrayal. It became evident that this wasn't merely a one-time lapse in judgment. There were likely numerous undisclosed encounters, perhaps even conversations conducted outside of Facebook, that were unaccounted for. Her recent messages scolded him for sending the video, indicating a breach in their collaboration of secrecy. The revelation left me feeling profoundly betrayed. The year when I believed her ex had vanished from our lives, he had, in fact, been a silent, ominous presence orchestrating a clandestine connection that threatened the very core of our marriage. The stability I thought we had achieved was now shattered, and the weight of this newfound truth bore down on me, leaving me to grapple with the harsh reality that our relationship had been built on a foundation of lies. The weight of the truth pressed on me. The unsettling details from her Facebook messages etched into my mind as I sifted through the conversations. A mix of disbelief and anger swirled within me. The messages she had recently sent to her ex were a defensive front, a desperate attempt to thwart any further attempts at manipulation. She taunted him, asserting that his plan to break us apart had failed and that I remained indifferent to his efforts. It was evident that she hoped this display would dissuade him from sending more damning videos that revealed her precarious past. Yet despite her attempts to shield me from further harm, the damage had been done. The videos in her past, once hidden in the recesses of her history, were now exposed. The revelation that she had been intimate with him after his release from prison cut through me like a knife. It wasn't just about her past or the videos. It was the stark realization that in a different circumstance, she might have chosen him over me. The foundation of trust and love I believed we shared had crumbled, leaving a void of uncertainty and betrayal. That night, sleep eluded me as I grappled with the newfound truth. The idea of a stable life once seemingly within grasp now felt like an illusion. The realization that her choice to be with me was contingent on stability rather than love left me questioning the authenticity of our connection. The specter of her ex, now armed with the potential to unveil more damaging secrets, loomed in the background. I began contemplating a life without her, visualizing the challenges of raising our children in a single-parent household, free from the drama that had suddenly enveloped us. Regret gnawed at me, regret for ever opening my heart to her and allowing myself to fall in love. The depth of the betrayal left me wondering if forgiveness was even possible, as the scars from that night seemed indelible. The idea of a quiet life free from the shadow of her past and the specter of her ex became an increasingly elusive dream. With the weight of evidence gathered from her Facebook messages, I woke her up, unable to let the truth linger in the darkness any longer. The confrontation that followed was a tumult of emotions, an anguished dialogue that would force us to confront the shattered pieces of our relationship and navigate the difficult decisions that lay ahead. In the aftermath of the confrontation, her attempts to deflect and justify her actions only intensified the turmoil. She claimed that her interactions with her ex were an effort to keep him away from our family, an assertion that rang hollow in the face of the evidence. Merely advising him to avoid our home when I was present did little to dispel his lingering influence. The day following the confrontation was marked by a sense of despair that eclipsed the initial shock. The video and the knowledge of her recent intimacy with her ex lingered in my thoughts like a relentless storm. I chose to sleep in a separate room, grappling with the internal conflict of not wanting to disrupt the lives of our children by immediately separating from her. As we attempted to navigate the aftermath, she confessed to the true nature of her past relationship with her ex. Their history included an open relationship characterized by intimate encounters with other couples. The revelation that she had been intimate with him 5 times since his release was a blow that reverberated through the fragile remains of our marriage. To make matters worse, she disclosed that he had been blackmailing her, leveraging the threat of revealing their past to manipulate her into submission. The link he sent me, an orchestrated act of revenge, was the culmination of this manipulation. After she rejected his advances and chose to stay with me despite the devastating revelations, I struggled to come to terms with the idea of ending our marriage immediately. Over the next 2 weeks, I clung to the hope that we could somehow salvage what remained of our relationship. However, each passing day brought a mounting wave of anger, a torrent of emotions that threatened to drown any chance of reconciliation. The internal conflict reached its zenith as I grappled with the betrayal, the manipulation, and the shattered trust. The weight of the decision to salvage or sever our connection pressed upon me, and the once clear path forward blurred into a maze of uncertainty. The 2 weeks marked by attempts at reconciliation and the persistent undercurrent of anger ultimately led me to a crossroads where a difficult decision awaited. The toll on my emotional well-being became increasingly apparent as the weight of the tumultuous month bore down on me. The realization that our paths had diverged irreparably became undeniable. Despite my initial reluctance to disrupt our children's lives, the toll on my own mental well-being and the realization that they deserved better compelled me to make a difficult decision. A month after the initial confrontation, with a heavy heart and the weight of betrayed trust, I sat her down and spoke the words I never imagined uttering. We were going to separate. Her immediate reaction was a torrent of tears, pleading with me not to let her ex win. She implored me to reconsider, attempting to convince me that we could salvage our marriage. I understood the implication. Succumbing to separation would validate his manipulative tactics. Yet, despite the rational understanding, I felt defeated, emotionally drained by the relentless storm that had enveloped our lives. Her suggestion of marriage counseling surfaced, a plea to rebuild what had been shattered. However, the thought of sitting in a room bearing the raw wounds of our fractured relationship to a stranger was unbearable. The idea of someone prescribing solutions for a marriage tainted by betrayal and deception seemed both surreal and intolerable. Her desperate attempts to dissuade me underscored her unwillingness to accept the reality of our separation. Yet, with each passing day, I became more resolute in my decision. The anger that had consumed me in the aftermath of D-Day slowly gave way to a quiet acceptance of the inevitable. I could no longer deny the fundamental truth. I couldn't mentally adjust to the reality that I was not genuinely desired by my wife. As I articulated my decision to separate, she resisted acceptance, clinging to the hope that I might change my mind. I understood the difficulty she faced, but for my own well-being, I couldn't continue living in a charade of a marriage. The weight lifted from my shoulders as the decision settled, granting me the elusive peace I hadn't experienced in a month. Yet she remained unwilling to discuss the impending separation. Last week, I decided I would consult with a divorce lawyer, an essential step toward understanding my options and navigating the complex journey that lay ahead. The path to a new beginning was daunting, but the prospect of rebuilding my life on more authentic terms offered a glimmer of hope in the midst of the chaos that had defined the recent chapters of our lives. If you liked it, please support us with a like as well as subscribe to our channel. Write in the comments what you think about the story. Thank you for being here with us.